Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking episode 3 of season 3 of Supergirl, Far From the Truth. And all in all, I thought this was a pretty solid episode. Ooh, what, that, oh, I don't know if you can hear that, but man, I needed to do that, so sorry about that. Anyway, all in all, I thought this was a really solid episode. It's probably one of the strongest John episodes we've had in a really long time. And of course, it was really nice to see McGann back. But the real kicker here is, of course, we get to meet John's father, who, as far as I know, is a character that's not in the comics. His brother Malfic, I think, is a character from the comics. I do remember reading him, but not John's dad. Now, of course, what's really interesting here is John's father is played by Carl Lumbly, who did the voice of Martian Manhunter on the Justice League cartoons from some 10-15 years back, and did a really, really nice job of it. So that just really made him an excellent choice. I mean, this is somebody who has more than a little bit of history with the Martian Manhunter, who is already very well admired for his performance as that character. And it's basically just, at the end of the day, a really nice treat for the longtime fans of the character and of DC on TV in general. And I did enjoy the kind of the story here. You know, Martian history is something that is kind of interesting, their culture and things like that. And as always, that sort of connection between the Martians and the Kryptonians, that they are in a way people who are in a very, very similar boat. Of course, you know, the Kryptonians do have the advantage that they don't need to do anything to blend into human society. They already look basically exactly like humans. But nonetheless, it's still interesting, and you know, Melissa Benoist and Carl Lumbly had a really great scene together, and they both really knocked it out of the park. This was also kind of a nice episode for Kara, because we finally get to see her sort of stop moping and, you know, be funny again, which we haven't really seen too much of. That bit where she like drives the car in there playing the Britney Spears song and then throws out a reference to Bugs Bunny. That was great. That was beautiful. I loved that. The part where she takes the Martian weapon and just flat out kills like 4 white Martians, and then nobody says anything about this, that I wasn't so big on. You know, the people that wear the S-shield are generally the sort of folks who do not hold very well with killing. Now, granted, there have been exceptions to this over the years, but the general idea is that they avoid killing at all possible costs. Life is intensely sacred to Superman and Supergirl and the other characters like that. And again, just to see Kara like basically just ice 4 people and then just nothing is made of it, that seems like no. This kind of feels like when you're watching those, you know, the Ben Affleck Batman or Michael Keaton Batman actually as well, kill some people and then just like, Batman's not supposed to kill people. That's not cool. But it is what it is. I also thought really this episode was quite strong with the story with Maggie. And this is definitely, I think, probably the best Maggie story arc we've gotten in the series so far. You know, her storyline with her father felt very real, felt very heartfelt. There's really great performances here. And it just goes to show you just how complex these sort of situations can be. And I liked how they did not make her father a black and white character. You know, you do see that he does genuinely love Maggie, but, you know, her being gay, that's just too much for him to handle. And the really sad thing is, it's not, despite what he says, him fearing for her own happiness, because, you know, aside from her crummy relationship with her parents, Maggie's life is pretty good. She's quite happy with her life. What's really getting to him is the way that having a daughter who is gay reflects on him. And you know, it just really is very obvious that that's what's going on. Also, it's a little weird that he was working at a factory when he was 11 years old, which is an enormous violation of child labor laws, but one has to assume that that situation was not. Actually, no, he meant that there said that there were other kids working at the factory as well. And I'm sorry, like, what? How old is this guy? I mean, where were, elementary school age children working in factories, 30 or 40 years ago? Probably not even that long. No, okay, maybe 30 years ago. I don't know. Yeah, 30, 40 years ago sounds about right. That seems really off. And then he also kind of mentions they're building a wall to keep us out. Well, somehow I don't think President Wonder Woman is doing that. Now, they sort of imply that the Speaker of the House is somebody who's along the lines of Donald Trump, so maybe there were some political shenanigans going on there, or, it's sort of something that, or, Maggie's dad could be exaggerating a little bit, but him invoking, Mexican people being called rapists and things like that. Well, we don't really need to think very far to know where that is coming from in real life. But yeah, despite all of his protests, they do really ring hollow when you sort of look at the situation more carefully. It really is, at the end of the day, that he feels as if having a daughter who's gay reflects negatively on him, and that's what's really chapping this guy's ass. And he's just not able to overcome it. He's not able to overcome his own pride and ego. And that's pretty sad at the end of the day. That really is. And yet, on the flip side of this, we see, John reunited with his father, and it's nothing but joyful. I mean, once they kind of realize that, hey, this is a trick, this is the thing that's for real, and it just goes to show you that families can really be heaven or hell. It all depends on the people around you, and, well, in some part, our own efforts. But one of the great things in life is that there are a few things that will make you more miserable, more frustrated, more upset than trying to control what other people do. It's one of the most futile things out there, and yet it is something we do constantly. And Maggie learns a lesson this time around why that's a bad idea. Yeah, I think that kind of covers everything I had to say about this episode. I mean, the storyline was really strong. We've got an awesome guest star who looks like he's going to be at least a semi-reoccurring character. Some really nice job fleshing out Maggie. Some cool stuff going on with the Martians. It's all good, people. So I'm going to call it here. As always, please comment, rate, subscribe. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi, and please also join me on Tumblr at Jedi Reviewer. Until next time, take care and have a good one.